So like all of you, I was no different. I was a student some years back. I'm 26 years old, so guess when I was in college, right? Like everybody else, I just couldn't wait to get into a job, right? Because it's just a very exciting world. Like they say, far off lands look greener. So you think that's a fun world, you're going to have money in your pocket, stay away from home, independence from parents, no rules. That's a very exciting phase. So I was just the same, got a good campus job, big name. It was a venture between Westinghouse Electric and Tata's, and in Kunur, Ooty, of all places, right near Ooty, and a hill station. Most were college hires. So for the next 6 months, it was virtually a hostel environment. All hired from different campuses. We had about 30, 40 of us there, going through training, so that 3-4 hours of work, and then nothing else to do after that. Money on hand in a tourist kind of destination. It was like a dream job, and went on for 6 months or so. Then got an opportunity to go for a project to the US. Very, very early days of IT industry. And IBM, no less, the client was IBM. And with just 2 weeks of training on IBM mainframes, me and a few others were sent off to the US to work in IBM on using, IBM mainframes. And no work again, right? 9 months I was there. The company was paying for my time, and there was nothing to do. First few months it was good. Maybe you're in the US and and then no work. It seemed like fun, but slowly it started to bother me, right? What am I doing here? Yes, I'm getting paid, but I need to earn that, right? In the first few months, it seemed like it was okay. It was almost like easy money, free money. Then started to feel guilty. Somewhere started to pinch, right? I need to be doing something if I'm getting paid. And started to seek purpose, right? There had to be a purpose. Then I came back and I said, like, I can't do this. I can't work in a place where there's nothing much to do. And I said, I'm going to go to the other extreme. I'm going to go find a small company. And one of my friends was working in this company in Bangalore. Those days, in the 80s and early 90s, they were porting Unix. And Unix, if any of you are excited about system software, working on Unix is as good as it gets, right? It's a very sophisticated, very complex system. And this company was porting Unix onto Indian hardware. And it was high-end work at that time. A small company, 30, 40 people company that was doing it. And very exciting. I got to join the company. Amazing bunch of people. The directors there, the one I was reporting to, was super good. Taught us many, many things till date. I teach things that he taught me back in 91. Some of those concepts, I still use it in my classes today when I teach. When I teach compilers, when I teach how programs run, I still draw on examples that he taught. An amazing teacher, a very good engineer and amazing teacher. And we started to work on a database product. We're building a database server from scratch, and like Oracle, MySQL, MongoDB, right, any of those. And we were building the database server. It was a Norwegian company's project. The architect and designer was a Norwegian himself who was funding it. He used to spend half the time in Bangalore those days. And a small team of 5 people built a database server. And again, it is probably the best technology experience I've had in all these 30 years or so that I've been working. And very, very fulfilling, very, very satisfying. But there was a problem, right? It couldn't make money. And so I was there for 3 years. And well, of course, we were funded. The project was funded. The Norwegian was funding it. The company was making money. We were making money. We were paid well and such. But somewhere it started to pinch again, right? That products need markets. And of course, the US buck bit those days. Everybody goes off to the US, and as much as I said, no, I won't go, I will be in India, and somewhere it bit, right? And just like I call this a conveyor belt. Things happen, you don't have to do much. You're just on the conveyor belt, you do your school, high school, intermediate, college, placement, some get trained, go to the US, get a H1, get a green card, and get citizenship. It just happens, right? You don't have to do much to go to the US. And while I was not exactly on that conveyor belt, but I jumped onto that for a short period when I went off to the US. New York City for some time, and then Houston. Again, very good work. I used to work in an automated warehouse those days in Compact. It's a very large PC manufacturer, which was now since then acquired by other companies. And in the 90s, they were the largest manufacturer of PCs in the world. And I was in one of their automated warehouses supporting the system, and very, very insightful experience how warehouse automation works. And everything from a handheld, those days, mid-90s, there were handheld computers in the warehouse, RFID scanners, barcodes, automated lines, lanes. It just flips the boxes to different lanes automatically. I was very excited. So I was learning a lot, and though I was not building it, the system was already built. I was only supporting it and maintaining it. But I was very curious. So I used to go look at the code, and like when the company that built comes every few weeks, I used to spend time with them just to understand. And I was very excited about the whole thing. And then the bug built. So at the end of the day, we're engineers. We have to build, right? And if you don't build, it's not fun. Then I said, no, I have to build. And the best place in US to build is Bay Area. So, like back then, Silicon Valley is a place. So I still remember when I went for the interview, and every billboard you see on highway, I was going to Bay Area for the first time. So I've been in US for some time by then, but mostly on the East Coast, never on the West Coast. And like you get off the airport, you go, every billboard is a tech company. You see Oracle, you see IBM, you see Sun, right? And then I had gone for my interview in a hotel. Next morning, I opened the paper. The front page news was somebody sleeping under the desk. Front page news that day, coincidentally, the day I was there. It was a feature on Yahoo. These were heydays of Yahoo and Netscape in the mid-90s. So it talked about how people kind of sleep at work under the desk, like there's just a blanket and there's somebody sleeping on the desk. And there was a startup culture. It was so exciting. I mean, I was just there for those 2 days for the interview, and then I got the job. I moved there after a couple of months, me and my family. It was, my experience in databases already, we built a database server. So this was a database company like Oracle, Information, the second largest database server those days. It's not there anymore. IBM was acquired and killed it. But again, it was a very, very sophisticated product. Had a complete operating system inside the database server. It was very exciting, 2-3 years in Bay Area, 4 years with that company, and got to learn a lot, got to kind of understand a lot, and of course build also some things. It's a large company. We had almost 800 engineers working on the product. So I was just one of those, but I was in a group that worked across the whole product. So there was a nice opportunity that I had. And then we had decided that we're going to come back. So we didn't apply for the green card. So we had the 6-year limit. That within 6 years we had to leave. And we stuck to that. And just before 6 years, 5.5 years, we left. And then the thing was like, Valley is so exciting. Silicon Valley has unbelievable energy, even today. I mean, like, this was when I went first time in '96, and even today, every time I go back, there is some palpable energy in the Valley, right? Silicon Valley, San Francisco, the whole Bay Area. And but somewhere again, you think, right, we should do it in India. And I got lucky. Just I was coming back, I joined just about any company, joined an MNC offshore. Oracle was big. I would have easily got a job in Oracle because my database experience would have helped. The other companies, I would have got some job, good job in Bangalore. And luckily for me, the around that time, Java was hot. Server-side Java had just come in, and Java was hot. And there was a company in Hyderabad building Java app servers. The early days of Java, server-side Java had just started. And I got to know about this company through Informix, which was a 25-year-old company in Silicon Valley. And they were looking at licensing this app server and embedding into the database server. I was very impressed. I got a chance to interact with them. Our group was involved with the whole process. And I was very impressed with what they were doing. I was anyway coming back, if not that year, next year for sure. And we were already in Singapore at the time. Moved out of US, but working for the same company remotely from Singapore. And then I got to know this company and then convinced my wife, let's not go to Bangalore, let's go to Hyderabad. And thankfully she agreed. And we came here, I joined the company startup, amazing team, young startup. Those days, I had already raised 1 round of funding. And a year after I joined, raised the 2nd round of funding. There were 2 rounds of VC funding. Very, very hot space. The acquisitions happening at the time, there were only about 10, 12 players in the whole world building Java app servers. And some of those they got acquired for a few $100 million. And there was an offer to acquire Pramathi for $100 million at the time. And the founders said no. In 2000, they said, no, we want to build this company. It's just 2 years since we started, we don't want to sell. And the product was very well known because the other players were IBM, Oracle, Sun, and companies like that were the other players in that space at the time. Very, very hot space. And the company, the technology brand got built. right? A very strong brand. Globally, I don't think till date any Indian company is known as much as Pramati was known those days in the server-side Java space, in the Java space, which was very hot at the time. One of the hottest, like just like how ChatGPT is now. Around 2009, 2000, Java was extremely hot. And Pramati was, because of that wave, Pramati rode the wave, we got highly recognized, but we couldn't make money. And around that time, 2014, is when this idea of TEA took seed. In a conversation with the new government that had just formed, in a meeting with ISB, IIIT, and the government, the idea came up when we said we had our incubators, around 60 startups at the time, and there's no space to take on new startups. That's when the government minister said that that's the easiest problem to fix. Let's create space. And then within a month, they finalized, and like within 2 months, the orders were issued, budgets in place, and in less than a year, TEA was up and running. And though the plan was 6 months, it took a little longer than that. And phenomenal place, phenomenal energy, got a lot of attention, and most of the startups in the city were connected to TEA. By then, there were many research incubators, ITR incubator, BitShare incubator, University of Hyderabad already had, CCMB was just starting. There were about like almost 8 to 10 research incubators in the city and many other academic incubators. JNT was starting the JHub program, very involved with that as well. And so good buzz, and TEA did draw a lot of attention nationally, right? Suddenly it put us on the map. Just that building and the activity in that building, not that it created new startups already existed, but that it put us on the national map. But within a few years, the question started to arise like, but where are those good startups, right? Where are those successful startups? And like by the time as a country, the obsession with unicorns increased and unicorns started getting tracked, there was no unicorn from TEA, no unicorn from Hyderabad, right? And while NCR had unicorns, Bombay had unicorns, Bangalore had unicorns, even Chennai had unicorns, Pune had a unicorn, much smaller than Hyderabad, Pune had a unicorn. And we don't have unicorns. Forget unicorns, there's no startup that even looked like was going to become a unicorn in the next couple of years. So it was very elusive, and there's a reason for that, right? I mean, unicorns, it's a measure, but it's a reflection of a successful environment where startups can grow. And so the whole thinking at the time was like, if Bay Area filled with Indians, right? Bay Areas had Indians working in companies 80s and 90s. By 2000s, there are Indians in very senior leadership roles in companies, right? And many startups started happening. Indians were founding team. By 2010, Indians were founders, right? And like it's not just, and these are not Indians born and brought up in the US. They're just like any of us, born here, brought up here, educated here, early career or so they went to the US. And like it's not that they have any particularly different background from many of us here. That environment is different, right? And Indians have founded companies, Indians have many unicorns have come out of companies started by first generation migrants, right? They're not born and brought up in the US. They moved from India and then started to work there. And so the point was, if Indians in Bay Area can create technology for the world, why can't Indians in India? Right? It's a question that's constantly on many people's minds, been on my mind for a very long time. There are no good answers. On paper, it should be there. There should be very good starters, but they just don't accept. So one of the things, like when we do this in the offshore environment, right, we're in a services mindset. And the services mindset is the problem. We need a product mindset to create products. And that product mindset is missing in these offshore companies, right? When you work where the home office is elsewhere, the product teams are elsewhere, customers are elsewhere, right? All the thinking happens elsewhere. It's a different matter that large companies can't innovate. That's a different matter. But even within whatever little possible in large companies will not happen in India. Because like as it is, large companies can't innovate. What a little they're doing it in the US or Europe or somewhere, not here. And so we are on the back end of this whole development work. Maybe good tech work, but we can never create products by ourselves because that mindset is not there. We don't think customers, we don't think markets. We're just happy opening data and writing code, right? So we're good at writing code, building systems, but not conceptualizing system, and that's very important. That product mindset was required, and the tech depth is required. If Bay Area is such a vibrant ecosystem, Boston is such a vibrant, today these days even Austin is a vibrant ecosystem because they're very tightly connected to top-class universities. Right? Bay Area has Stanford and Berkeley, Boston has MIT and Harvard and others, Austin has UT Austin. And they're very porous, right? The boundaries between the startup and the industry, tech industry and the academia is very porous. A lot of interaction happens. And that's very important. I mean, if you're going to build technology for the world, it can't come with just a business innovation or process innovation. Nothing wrong with it, right? You conceptualize, come up with your own Swiggy and build a Swiggy, it's okay. Swiggy happens to replicate things in other countries, that's fine. But even if it's our own, it is fine with business innovation. But Swiggy will now become a global company, right? A technology company can become a global company. So Bay Area companies, most of them are tech companies. They create tech for the world. And that tech happens because of the strong research connect. So if we don't do research that is relevant to the industry, and if we don't build products based on research, we're not going to get those deep IP startups, right? So the research is very central to this whole process of creating technology and products and startups for the world. So the biggest challenge we have is like no mindset is one thing, right? Lack of awareness of markets is something else, because if you're going to build for the globe, you have to have a global awareness, right? Yes, to some extent, India is 1/6 of the world, maybe 1/15 of the global economy. So there's a lot we can observe in India and extend to the whole world. But then still having a global understanding is important. Understanding of the markets, understanding of the problems, right? And then creatively connecting the dots is a very, very important part of which US does very well, right? Creativity is a big part of this whole process. If you don't think big, we have to think big, we have to dream big. We're scared of dreaming. We're very, very happy getting a job. Like I'm at IIIT, I've known IIIT very well. Last 8 years I've been at IIIT as regular faculty. I see our students. We have like coming in, going by just, not that these ranks matter, but if you just were to if top 3,000 rankers of JEE come into IIIT, when they go out in the graduating batch in the country, they're definitely in the top 1,000, maybe top 500 even, right? That's a delta that environment creates. The whole research-led curriculum creates that delta very, very strong in technology, very strong in research, very strong in problem solving, right? And like because half the courses, they do all courses of the research centers. And like for those 20 courses, they pick from about 200 courses. Because every center offers 5-10 courses, there are 28 centers. And they get to pick from that. So that environment nurtures a different kind of thinking. But still, the point is we don't get out of our comfort zone. There's a box, right? And we are very, very deeply inside the box. Not even on the edges of the box. We are bang in the middle, deep inside the box. And we don't push those boundaries, right? We don't think big. We don't get out of the box. We don't observe. We don't dream big, right? And we don't try to do things big. And that is required to create products. Right? We cannot bold, not audacious, that is a big, hairy, audacious goals. If you don't have that kind of mindset, we can't create technology for the world. And that's what you all should do. Think out of the box. Aim very high, dream very big. Don't hesitate. What's the worst that can happen? Something that you seek may not work, right? Something may fail. And it's not so bad. Not trying is a bigger failure. So dream big, think big, dream big, aim big. Thank you.